amount in 50. And see the amount in $50 increments. I will select the amount to pay. And then, so either 50, 100, 150, etc. And then I could also enter the amount to pay out of the set amounts. And then I'll enter my payment details. So payment details will include this. I'm using the automated clearinghouse. So I have first name. The data type will be alphabets, minimum characters 2, maximum 25, and it's a mandatory field. Last name also the same. Bank name, then the branch, also a mandatory field. And then bank account number, the data type is numbers only. The minimum number is 10, maximum 25, also mandatory. Then the SWIFT code is also numbers only. The maximum characters 9, and it's optional. Then I will select pay button. Okay, when I select the pay button, then I'll be able to pay my tithe. I think that I need to add a confirmation here. I think I've done it in some of the other ones, but I haven't done it here. So let me see. So, but that is what I've done for tithe. And then offering to, I've done it. I don't know if, so offering to, I've assigned Yahweh to it. And then the user story, as a member of the church, I want the ability to contribute money so that our pastors can be paid. Okay, so additional information could be any amount you willingly want to give to the church. Then given that acceptance criteria is given that I'm logged into the website, when I select give, I will see option to give offering. Then I'll select the offering and see amount in $50 increments. I'll select amount to pay. I could also enter any amount and then enter my payment details. So the payment detail is the same for this one also. So that is how the give side, that's how it follows. Let me see the Latin American project. So here, okay, as a member of the church, I want ability to contribute money to support the Latin American house project undertaken by the church in Latin American community. So could be any amount as well. And then acceptance criteria is given that I'm logged into ABC Church website. When I select give, I will see option to donate towards Latin American house project. And then I will give offering. I will select give offering and see the amount in $50 increments. I'll select or enter any amount and then provide the payment details as well. Same data types, minimum, maximum, whether mandatory or optional, just as I did for the tithe. And then you click on the pay button to give the offering. Now, let me go to, say, conferences. I've done something to under the conference epics.
Okay, so, you need to take your time so that, we can look at your story critically, look at your acceptance criteria as well, and then the team will have to look at it. That's how we do it. The team will have to look at it, and then we need to talk about it and say, is everything looking okay here? I need to ask everyone here, James, Ernest, Joe, Kojo, Kenneth, ask everybody here that, guys, what do you guys think about this acceptance criteria? And then before you proceed, but it looks like, don't be in a hurry. We want to take our time and make sure that, we get it, we fully get what, is going on here.
So should I repeat? Should I go back to?
Yeah, so go back to the first one. Which one was that? The first one.
The give, under the give. Okay. So, tithe. Okay. All right. So this is it. This is the user story. as a member of ABC Church, I want ability to select tithe so that I can give 1/10 of my income to support God's work. Then additional information is also here. So I further describe the tithe as 1/10 of your gross income, and then the acceptance criteria.
So when you look at the additional information about it, when you think that you can add, it is okay, but you can also further elaborate on this. How frequent is this done? Is tithe you guys do it weekly, or is done at the end of the month? You need to be able to expand on this a little bit if you want, but that's why it's additional information.
Okay.
This is going to be located somewhere, on the give, whatever. Anything that you can add over here, it's still okay. It's still going to be okay. But hey, if this is all that you got, that's okay.
If you it's already under the give epic, so do I have to point it out that it's going to be under give and?
Yeah, I mean, because you've already left the give epic, and people are reading this story and they want to take this story. That's how you're gonna do it. You still want to reinforce the same message, core message.
Okay.
If you still want to point them out and say, hey, this is gonna be here, it's gonna be on the drop down, whatever, please, it's okay.
Okay, I get it. All right, I'm taking notes. I'll work on it.
Yeah, so guys, take a look at his story, and then you guys tell me if the story is looking good. It has all the component of a user story. I want to make sure that you guys fully, you guys are compliant when it comes to story structure. I already told you guys the role, that's the persona, the goal of the story, the expected outcome, additional information, etc., and acceptance criteria. You guys have to look at all these components and tell me that everything is in. That's how we learn. So guys, look at this and tell me if
Bismarck.
Yes, sir.
Bismarck.
Yeah.
With the acceptance criteria, the format is giving when then. I see, given that I am logged into ABC Church website. When I select give, I will see options to pay. So, which conditions satisfy the then statement?
Which condition?
Satisfy the then statement. I can't see the then there. Is it that I will see options to pay? Because there should be a post.
Yes. So it is okay. So here I can say then I will see like this. You mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that would be the post condition of the. Yeah, I think aside that, okay, you said you use the ACH, right?
Yeah, so I have to provide these details.
Okay. Minimum of 2. Okay. Can you go up a bit? All right. Well, to me, I think it's okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
Bismarck, I don't know if this, given that I am logged into ABC Church website, I think per the requirements, I don't mean of the acceptance criteria. I mean per the requirements, the donor shouldn't necessarily be logged in. I think I remember Nana saying the person shouldn't necessarily be logged in. So perhaps you'll want to update that.
I will change that word. I think
okay.
Okay, so good that somebody's looking into this very well, because you don't have to log in, sign up, do anything before you can give.
Yes.
And you don't have to log in before you can access the give a bottom or feature or header menu or something. You don't have to log in to see that.
And Nana, could you correct me on this? Maybe I think this is still correct though, but given that I have opened ABC Church website, when I select give.
No, are you referring to yours, or are you referring to this one, this very one?
No, to this one,
okay.
Because of then I will see options to pay tithe.
No, it's supposed to be when you click, or when you click on the give, then the drop down is supposed to be a drop down to give you options on what you can support.
Yes.
Okay.
If you go back to the requirements, so I'm just looking at it. I'm looking at it over here, and I'm asking myself, am I the one who gave this?
And should the statement be that I should see the options to pay tithe, or you can say then I will see?
So when you hover over, so there's a couple of options here. When you hover on the give menu, it should have the drop down where you see all the, so or even over here under I want to see AI. You need to be able to list what the user will see when they hover over the give menu. If they're going to see tithe, I want you to see it here. If they will see offering, you have to be explicit, guys. You guys have to be explicit. You don't have to miss a thing here. So you don't have to skip any step here, right? So now you're when the user, is on ABC, webs, church, landing page, and then the user, clicks on give. What does the user see? That's the first thing. So the first thing that I'm going to be presented with the list of options of projects or whatever, or the various ways that I can support the church. So you see offering over there. I'm going to see tithing. I'm going to see whatever Africa project, whatever mayor project with the city, whatever shelter. So I want you to list things like that, so that when I'm testing this as an acceptance criteria, if I don't see that, then I know there's something wrong somewhere, even before I continue, right? So I don't want you guys to skip the process. So everything that you're supposed to see, make sure that, you're putting this in here. You don't have to skip it.
Okay.
Hello, Nana. That means for every feature, you have to create a process flow for the feature to make it easier for the acceptance criteria.
Yeah, not even the process flow diagram, but let that process be in mind that, okay, when I go over here, what am I going to see first? So you list it. Okay, the user will have to click on this. That's why it's acceptance criteria. There are conditions that must exist. If you go over there and you don't have the give button, you don't have the drop down to see all these options, ways that you can support, ways that you can give, then that's going to be a problem, right? So you need to be able to list all these things out here for the user to see that, hey, when you go over there, this is what you're going to be looking out for. Maybe the one that we're talking about right now, maybe the tithing is going to be like number 5. You got to list it out there that the tithing is going to be number 4. From the drop down options, right? So you have to be able to tell the user that select the number 4. That is the tithe. That is going to be it. So you got to be able to list it like that.
Okay. Okay.
Do I have everybody here? It's Yahweh here. Kenneth is here. Okay, Jerome is here. Okay. Yeah, so guys, questions. I want you guys to be looking at this as a criteria and then be asking him questions. What you see here, what you're thinking about that. Is he on the right path? And I'm also glad
Hi guys, Kenneth here. I'm a bit caught up with some maintenance work, but I was following. So I saw the acceptance criteria B. So as we said, like you did for the A, right? The languaging should be as such. You get, so this is one acceptance criteria, and B is also one acceptance criteria on its own. So I think that it should still have the given that and then I language. And also I also realized that you put in two things in here. You boxed two things in here. Like one, you want to be able to select pay tight, and number two, you want to see the amount, and I think number two, you want to see it in 50 increments. So I think that we should try and segregate all of them. Like we shouldn't box three things we want to see all in one, or two things we want to see all in one. So I want to be able to, given that I have access to the ABC website, then I should be able to select pay tight. They see the amount in increment is probably a tab or a drop down under the pay tight option. So I think that should be segregated from that particular acceptance criteria, and said that maybe given that I select pay tight, then I should be able to probably select my amount, that kind of thing. Like let's try and
I've seen what you mean.
Yeah.
So this can stand on its own. All right. So to see the amount in $50 increment can stand on its own as a standalone.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what
I get you. I'll work on that.
Yeah.
Let me just put it here for now.
I'll work on and also, so given that this has gotten to the development team, so now when you say $50 increment is a good idea. Like we've told them we want to see 50, 20, 25, but he will do until he gets to 150. They are all increments of $50. So maybe in the additional information, you can state that the increment of $50 should be between 50 and maybe 250, as based or as per the requirements that were given by the stakeholder. I think it was between $50 and $250. Then after that, there will be a custom field for you to be able to input your own value or input your own. Then also, even with that, you can add an additional information. Mind you, we are paying in dollars. So we should tell that whatever field that we are given, the value we are entering should be in dollars. If you have to find a way of putting a fade out inscription saying with the dollar sign, fine. Then also with the 50 increment, someone can decide to type in the dollar sign and 50. You get it? Maybe we just need a person to type in digits, no special characters, no currency, just digits. But because we've already told the programmer that that field is in dollars already, then it means that the person can just put in 50 and it is fine. So all those can come as like additional information, just so that the programmer or the development team will have an idea that, okay, at this particular side, from what he is saying, he wants me to be able to put in only digits. And additional information one can also be that it should accept only digits.
Okay.
Or C,
so or maybe I can say C1 or CI. Then I put the so that we can create a space for the special character first.
Okay.
Besides where you input the digits. All right. That's how I think I would do it. So
I'm just suggesting.
I get the point. So that's how That's how. So we'll have a grayed out sort of text area for the special character, the dollar sign.
Yes.
And
To indicate that it's dollars. Yeah.
And then here I can put a note there that something like what I've done here. So it will just be digits, and then I can set the range.
Okay.
Thank you, Ken.
All right. Okay. So I like what you've done with F1, F2, F3, F4, and F5. This particular payments details is quite dependent on the kind of payment option you choose. So here, yes. I think is what? Here is what?
Well, the bank details, the ACH.
Arch. Okay. This is Arch. I think it's automatic clearinghouse. Okay, so for Arch, they require like the bank branch, the bank account number, the SWIFT code, and the account type. Whether it's I think they have
account type,
and then yes, account type. And then also we should be able to tell them that this particular one is Arch. So even in your additional information, you can say that if the person is paying by Arch, require this information from them. Then you put first name, alphabet only, this mandatory, second name. So that even here you can just say payment details, enter payments details. So the development team will know that in the additional information, if it gets to Arch, these are the payments details. If it gets to Vodafone, these are the payments details. If it gets to Zelle, these are the payments details they require. If it gets to PayPal, you've predefined all of them in the additional information.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just suggesting. It's something I thought about when I started mine. So, just so that the languaging and everything is very clear then, Charlie.
So it means that we can define all of these parameters under the additional information. So that when I come here so like I stated for F, so the payment details will include, so here and before even FE, I said enter payment details. So I can put the automated clearinghouse, okay? And then the payment details will now include this. So if it is PayPal, I could put the PayPal and then indicate the details required for PayPal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, just to predefine the whole thing for them to know that when it gets to whichever payment option you choose, these are the kind of information that you have to require from them. Yeah. And
should so that additional information?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That to me, you can. That's why I said that with this acceptance criteria, it's good that you've bulleted it with, you've done F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. It's good. Yeah, it's not. But what this means is that this is for Arch. It means I have to come and do payment details for Visa MasterCard includes this. CVV, 2, account number, 3, name, 4, expiry. Yes. After that, you do for another one. So my idea is that, okay, so why don't you predefine all these things as additional information inside there so that you can just state your main acceptance criteria and say that enter. So given that I've selected whichever payment, then I should be able to enter my payment details. And no, you've predefined, you've told in the additional information that this is Arch payment information is there. So when it gets there, the programmer will probably know that these are the kind of fields or these are the kind of requirements or information that I have to extract from the user when it gets to paying with Arch. But then also you can
payment details specify under payment details. If it's for PayPal, you specify PayPal, then give details.
Yes, other than going information. Yes. That's what I'm saying, that you can study here, or I'm sure you don't have to be like there are diverse ways of letting the person understand, just to make our work very clear. So whichever way I'm suggesting that can work with us, I'm just putting across the kind of information that we have to also include.
From what Nana has said earlier, when I talked about the fact that this is under give. You see, it says you can still repeat it here.
Yes,
so
yes.
that as they work along, so maybe the second option you propose will work better. So I give payment details for Ash, and then
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
it goes down like that.
Yes, 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 yes. I believe so. So I think that's the point I was just trying to put across.
Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you very much. I have to write back, Charlie. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay, Bismarck.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Under the user story, let's try and bring a little structure in there. Okay, so you can start by giving bullet points. Okay, so the role, the goal, and then the benefits. So as a member of the church command, that can be one bullet point. Then you drop down and say, I want the ability to select tithe, another bullet point, so that I give a tenth of my income to support. You understand what I'm saying?
If you can repeat that.
So you bullet it, so that you
can you please come again on that?
I'm saying that in order to give structure to the user story, you bullet it. Okay, so as a member of the church, it should be one bullet. I want the ability to select, you know, that one should be another bullet point. And then so that I can give.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So in this way, we are trying to identify the role, the goal, and the benefit.
Yes.
So something like this.
Yes, something like that with a bullet.
Oh, okay.
So that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that this is the role. This is the role.
Yeah.
This is the goal, and this is the benefit.
Goal, and this is the benefit. Yeah. Okay.
So that should be captured. So S should be captured. Okay. And bullet it. Make sure you bullet it.
And I'll bullet all of them.
The same applies to the acceptance criteria. Given that.
How about changing the font color other than bulletin, so that it will be more of like a template?
You change the
Changing
font color.
The font color.
Yeah, like as
what color?
You change yes, because bulletin is more or less not making it a full statement.
Well, this is what I am referencing for my training. Okay, so I'm just impacting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the structure is not that it's not that important than the content. So bulleting it or leaving it as one sentence doesn't make any difference. If you can read and understand what the output will be, then that would be great. But the important thing is how the developer is going to have the understanding to code what we want. So bulleting it, separating and making it line by line, I don't see the benefits there. And then I think Ken also mentioned that we create separate acceptance criteria for every process of the feature. I also think with that, like we in connection to what I said earlier, let's say given that that's the main acceptance criteria, but then the processes that have the user has to go through is the process. It's not the acceptance criteria. So we've stated acceptance criteria already. So the processes, as Nana said, if you have to list it by using the Roman numerals or even numbers, you can state it. So first, maybe the user has to click this thing, do that. It's accepted. But if I have to write, given that this for all the processes, that would be like a whole note for the developer to read. But if you're able to structure it in a nice way, first select this, 2 do this, 3 do this, it gives clarity and simplicity to the whole document for the developer to even just glancing through can know what he's doing next than to write a whole essay for the developer. So that's my take. So for me, I think it's not about writing a lot of stuff, but how you put it out there. The clarity and simplicity is the ultimate.
Are you saying that the acceptance criteria has been said every one of them? You have to start by saying giving that.
That was what Kenneth was suggesting, or that's what he communicated, and I have a different opinion.
Yeah. No. I think that the acceptance criteria is a general process that you follow. Okay, so if you set it by saying that given that I have assessed the ABC Church, when I do this, then, okay, so the giving, when, and then sets the tone for the other details that's to come. So you don't need to repeat giving that and all that in the other. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so for example, you said that you have options to pay. So what are those options to pay? I think I heard Nana saying it. What are the options? You have to list those options. Then you take it one by one and give details as to what you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've made notes on that. So I think I will list all the, so there is tithe, there is when you select give, there is tithe, there is offering, there is Latin America project, there is the Africa Water project. So I will list all of them and then continue with. So you select, you click on pay tithe, and then you go through the steps to allow you to pay your tithe. I will do it. I will restructure it when we finish.
Yeah. I have a question. My question is that probably maybe Nana, you can assist us in this, or Brother Chris. You see, for example, when it comes to tithing, let's just say you have, you can have about 2 or 3 epics, 2 or 3 user stories. Now, with these user stories, are you going to write just one? Then you give the acceptance criteria, you give processes. Then you come and go to another user story again, or you can bring all the user story, say user story 1, giving that assets so then user story 2 assets so. Can you bring all the user story at one page and then you provide the acceptance criteria for all of them, or every user story should have its own criteria separately?
Well, I think that tithing we know is 1/10 of your income or whatever you receive. I mean, so I really didn't understand what you meant by saying that two user stories for tithe. If you can be more clear on that.
Okay, so let's just say that at the give session, the give is the epic, okay, and then we have tithe as one user story. Then we have support to missions as another user story. So what I'm trying to say is that as we list the acceptance criteria here, we are all going to list all other forms of method of giving when we want to support the church activities. So what I'm trying to find out is that, so if you are doing acceptance, if you have written the user story for tithe. Yes, if you have written the user story for the tithe, So what it means that you, what I'm trying to say is that you have for every user story, for every epic, must you have to write only one user story in the system and provide the process, or you can have two user stories, two or more user stories for one particular epic, and then you provide acceptance criteria for all.
So you write the user story for the tithe. You're going to write an acceptance criteria for that tithe. Then when you come to support, you also do the same thing. You see that the idea is that you have to give details to the development team, because the quality of your user story and the acceptance criteria will affect the quality of the code that they produce. Okay, and so it should be detailed. You have to be very detailed. Don't leave the development team in assumption that they know what you are saying. So at the end of the day, because you have written it for that, it applies for this one. No. If it is tight, you finish on the tight, you go to support the Latin American project, you write the same, you write a detailed user story and then acceptance criteria. You go to the African project, the same, okay? So yeah, it will almost look like you are repeating the thing, but it will help them to understand that, okay, this is the direction that you're going.
Okay. I think
James, I think I started doing something like that under the about us. Maybe let me see. So if so under the about us, this is what I stated, that you will see the following, okay, and about us. And then, so when you come here, this is one user story, history of the church. This is another. This is another. Okay, and then this is another. So all these are the various user stories under the epic about us. Okay. So when I go to history of the church, okay, as a member of ABC Church, I want the ability to select history of church submenu so that I can read and learn about the history of the church. So if you see based on what we have learned under the give, I will still work on
make the changes. But I think I'm
work
okay
on this part.
Yeah.
But then you see, given that I'm logged into ABC Church website, when I select about us menu, I will see history of the church. Here I will list the other three to make the 4. And then you click on history of the church to read about it. So this is the history of the church here. So something brief. Then once I'm done, I go to the other one about founder. Okay, that one to have done something there like that. I haven't completed it yet, and then if you go to leadership also, head pastor's corner. Okay, I haven't yet loaded it here, but I have it prepared. So it's like that. You get it.
Mr. Chris, so for example, Bismarck, please go up. For example, so let's just say we have history of the church. We have about the founder of the church. We have the head pastor. We have the leadership. Here, can you just write maybe 2-3 sentences under each of them before you come and do the user stories? So, for example,
you want to describe it.
Yes.
You want to introduce
can you give a
what
brief,
this is?
No, like go back to the previous where you have the.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to find out is that, so for example, the history of the church. So can you just give maybe one sentence here under this, just to say that this talks about this. Then probably maybe in the user story you bring those things in there, or you can just it's advisable to leave it as bullets as this one, and then you do the discussion in the additional information when you click on the user story.
So you can be detailed over here at the epic level. This is the epic level, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
The epic level is the same as the requirement level, okay?
Okay.
So usually you will copy what you have in your business requirement document. That is the requirement that you've gathered. That is what is going to come on here, right? Because epic is the same as the requirement level. So whatever detail that you have, got it from the stakeholder, whatever thing that is over there, stakeholder say I want, features that you have clarified, all those details must come here. So this is the epic level. Okay. And then under this epic is when you drill down and maybe start with your actual stories under the epic, like Bismarck has done. But here, epic level, guys, keep in mind is a requirement or whatever stakeholder has shared. So everything that the stakeholder has shared about these features and what must come here, whatever that it is, you must put it all here at the epic level. Don't keep it anywhere. Bring every discussion. Sometimes you can even attach emails or all the kind of things that are happening with you and the stakeholder. Bring all those details here.
Okay, sir.
That is the epic level and the level of detail that it must carry.
Yeah, sir. Okay. I have struggled all night trying to get it done. Yeah.
All right. So do I go back to? Okay. Let me go to the conference so that I can receive review.
Bismarck, I'm going to skip you. So who else? Who else also want to volunteer? And then let me check for the the progress made.
Okay, let me stop sharing so that somebody can.
Who else also want to volunteer so that we can look at your work.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, sure. Guys, it's very important that you share your work here so that we look at it so that we know that you're on the right path. We can make some recommendations, comment on it, and that's how you become a big boy like Chris. So.
Yeah, I think it's very important. You have to criticize within, you defend outside. So when you put up your work for critique, it helps you to flesh up and then correct yourself and prepares you. So it's a good exercise.
Yeah, you don't want to assume that, oh, I can understand this, I know how to. No. It's when you put it out here. That is how we look at it, and then all the opinions are coming from left and right. You begin to know, oh, I missed this, I missed that. It's like somebody sitting in a room somewhere deceiving him or herself that I have a great idea that will solve the world's problem. Until you throw the idea out there, the world out there it has some arrogant force. It has not shown any loyalty to anybody. So we over here, we don't have any loyalty to anybody. We just want to make sure that you are doing the right thing.
The way I thought I had done a good job.
So you can be sitting in your room and say, hey, I have the best idea. This idea, when I put it out there, the world will hear of me. You put it out there and let's see. Don't sit in your room and deceive yourself that, oh, I think I fully get it. I know how the user story, how it's gonna go. So that's right. No, you put it out there, show us, and then we will, we'll let you know.
let me share an experience, okay? There's this development team in India that they are working on some codes, and the PO wrote some user story with the acceptance criteria. All were rejected because he couldn't meet the standard. Okay, so this is just by way of information. If you don't write good user stories and acceptance criteria, the development team will not get it. Okay, they will reject it. All right.
Okay, can I proceed? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so this one is for the tithing. So it says, as a user of the website, I want to be able to click a tithe button so that I can make payment. Sorry, this is supposed to be a give button.
So instead of a user of the website, okay, if you don't want to be, you don't commit yourself or something, you can say as a visitor of the website. Okay.
Okay. A visitor of the website, I want a give button so that
Kojo, you are not audible. We lost you for some seconds. We were not able to hear whatever you were saying.
Okay, give me a second. Let me place my mobile phone somewhere for clarity. I think my data is acting up today.
And once Kojo is doing that, the guys don't forget.
Okay.
Don't forget all the things that we've talked about in your agile, practice, in your, waterfall stuff. It's not because you are doing user story and so you sort of abandon and, you just, forget to, completely or totally, forget about whatever we've talked about so far. Make sure that you're always going back, you're referring to your notes, refreshing yourself. It's going to be important moving forward. Yeah, go ahead, Kojo. Go ahead, Kojo.
Yes, Anna. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So
yeah, Koyo, we cannot hear you. Looks like
so
you're.
Hello, Nana. Oh, come on. Wrong time to be having data issues. How? Today of all days. Hello, Nana, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now, but previously, I think you were lagging a little bit. I think you have some issues with your internet access.
Yes, I just placed my phone. I don't know what's going on today in my neighborhood. Today the network is really bad. I think you were saying something. I didn't hear you.
No, I was just saying that. Go ahead, but it looks like we were like your voice was. I can get a feel of some latencies somewhere.
Yes.
You keep going in and out.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so this says the give menu is a drop-down list. Offering button is a sub-menu of the give menu. And the offering button is also a button on the give page itself. So PayPal payment API documentation, I just provided a link to the API documentation, and then another document link to the subscriptions API for PayPal. Acceptance criteria. Given that I hover over the give menu, I should see sub-menus labeled tithe, offering, special projects, and donations. Now, when I click tithe, I should see the tithe page with a form. The form should collect the first name, which is an alpha text box. It's an optional field. The last name, also an optional field. The month, which is a calendar picker, so that you can select on the calendar itself what particular month you're dealing with and the year. And then an amount in dollar. And then the preferred gateway drop-down list, which is PayPal, the ACH bank transfer, Zelle, and Venmo. Then it will also, you need to also provide an email address of the branch of the church, if you're a member, which is a drop-down list. And this will give the state, the city, and the branch name. And then the optional, which is also an optional entry. Now, the list can be referred from the branch list, which we should populate. Then I'll link it to that particular page. So you should get 2 radio buttons for autodidact monthly, which is just a label, but then you get 2 radio buttons, which is a yes or no. So you have to pick one. After filling out that form, the user should be able to click submit. Once they submit, the page should then load the payment page where the user can input.
And could you, even as, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, do this for me. Pull up one page, one browser page right now, and then do radio button versus checkbox. I want everybody to learn something so that, as you're writing your status criteria, you know what to be doing, and then click on the image. Either on one of the image, yeah, and then let's go ahead and click on the one that is down here. No, this one should even do. Okay, all right, guys. So I want you guys to learn something. Oh no, not this one. The checkboxes. Yes. This one should be okay. So I want you guys to learn something as Kojo is talking through this. It just occurred to me. So as you guys can see, so when you write acceptance criteria, you giving a description about user will select this. Sometimes, the options of and the utility of radio buttons and checkboxes is going to be very handy, right? It's going to come very handy to you when you're describing something. But you guys should be able to know the difference between a radio button and a checkbox. As you guys can see, when you select a radio button, that is going to be the exclusive, right? Option that you can select. You cannot select more than 2 radio buttons over there. You see, and I know you guys have, been on different web pages and you guys have done different applications, throughout your whole life, you've done this, but you didn't get to you that, okay, this is a radio button, this is a checkbox. But checkboxes, as you guys can see, you can select among, multiple options, as, you deem right. So as you're filling a form, as you're working on something, with a checkbox, you're going to see a list of features, a list of options. Whichever one that applies, you go ahead and check it. So that's the use of checkboxes, right? Radio buttons, that means you want to select just one. Now, if, this was a very active page and all these options were there and very active with the radio button, when could you select option number 1? The option number 2 that is currently engaged right now, it will be deselected. So the use of, radio button, you guys have to know this. So if somebody was, for instance, going to pay with PayPal or Visa, MasterCard or something, when they select from a radio button, or if you give the option that it's going to be a radio button, when they select from that option, you cannot pay with PayPal and pay with Visa and pay with, whatever that payment option. So it's going to be just that one exclusive option. Now, if there are other things that are in there that, you're writing acceptance criteria for a different thing, and you want to be able to select, among maybe 10, 15 applicable whatever descriptions that are there that the user must maybe select before they proceed or they advance to the next page of, whatever the application feature might be, then, checkboxes might be, beneficial when it comes to that. So know the difference between checkboxes, when to use it, know the different, the use of also radio button as well, right? Radio button, just one option. Anytime you select option number 4, option number 2 is going to go, or whatever option that you have, previously, selected will be deselected. So just know that. All right, Kojo, you can come back.
Okay. All right, so email. Then after I fill in the form, I should be able to click submit. The page should then load the payment page where I can input my payment details. Payment details include, for PayPal, you'll need the PayPal email and the PayPal password. For PayPal credit cards, which is a MasterCard and a Visa card, you need the first name, maybe a middle name, the last name, the card number, the credit card number itself, the card expiry date, and the security code of the card, which is the CVV. So if you're going to be using the bank transfer, then you're going to need the bank name, which in our case will be suggesting autocomplete names as the user types. So we'll have a pre-populated list of banks, and then the account name. You will need the account name, which is mandatory. You need the account number. It's also mandatory. The account type, which is mandatory. It will be a drop-down list, and you can pick between a savings account and a checkings account. You also need the routing number, which is a mandatory field, and the particular amount you want to transfer. For Venmo, we're going to display the Venmo account email or QR code on the on the page, and then after the user makes payment, they can input their username in the payment. In the form. So their particular email, so that we can know that it is coming from them. The field will be the user's Venmo account email, which is a mandatory field, just one field. And then a submit button that can be clicked to complete that payment for Venmo.
So some of these things that Kojo and Kenneth and Bismarck they've been talking about so far, this is also very easy for you to maybe get an idea. So Kojo, I want you to open up another browser as well and say Visa payment form. Okay. You can even say payment form or payment card. You can even say payment form or whatever, and it's going to pull up. So go ahead and do an image of that so that the guys can see it. So you're going to have different images. Pick up one that has a lot of details on there, so that you guys will get to see. Okay, this is how it's going to look like. So there's going to be a user is going to be required to do a user entry for all these fields. First name, last name, card number, expiration date, CCV, the card owner, maybe the billing address, etc. So when you do not set that criteria on something like that, you know what to include on there, because you need all these data fields, right? Billing address, etc. All those things must be on there. So it's very easy, guys. Anytime you think about something and you think, okay, what is going to be on something like that, just come online and use the keyword and say, okay, what's going to be on a payment form? What's going to be on PayPal? If I'm going to pay with PayPal, PayPal payment form, what's going to be on there? And you'll get an idea. There's going to be something on there, online for you. All right, you can come back, boss.
Okay, so for Zelle payments, we're going to display the church's Zelle email address on the website for the payment page, and the user makes payment to that Zelle email account. And then the church finance representative will have to accept that payment. So that is more of an active payment system where the two users have to be in tandem. The user then clicks submit to complete that payment, the payment process. So the system, once the payment is completed, should send a thank you email to the user's email. And I just provided a template for the email address, for the particular email that's to be sent, like thank you with the first name of the donor. And then your tithes to ABC Church has been received. We pray God continues to bless you as promised in his word. We shall keep you in our prayers. You may also consider our resources, and then we provide a hyperlink there. So the resources statement there will be a hyperlink, and e-store, and that e-store where there will also be a hyperlink. So you may also consider our resources and e-store sections for more spirit-filled content. We look forward to seeing you during our services. God bless you. So the branch pastor name will be like the signee. That is, if at the top of the form, the person picked the branch, if the person is a member and they pick the branch, then it's going to pick that branch pastor's name, and then the particular branch that the person is representing and put them there. And then it will say ABC Church USA. So it will be like a whole signature. But if the person didn't pick any of that, then it will just say, God bless you, ABC Church USA. So that is just for this particular user story. Any questions or suggestions, please?
So like Chris was given an indication up there when you guys are writing the story, you can, bullet it, whatever. It is okay. It is just for it just serve as a guide for you, right? You want to be guided that, hey, what am I missing? I think in our training session, I'm not sure the exact date, but I mentioned something like that hey, if you don't want trouble when you start writing a story, even before you begin to fill in the details, you can just write first line as a, you come to the next line, I want to, and then the third one will be so that, and then now you go back and then you begin to fill in all the data. It's just as a guide, just like, as NS was saying, if you know that, you're on track, you got it, hey, that's fine, right? If you know you're on track, but if you know you want to make sure that your work is clean, you have all these things in there, make sure you can use a format like that, right? You can use a format.
I remember you said that.
Yeah, just make sure that your role is in, the goal or the mission of the story is also in, and then the expected benefit or the outcome is also in. That is your so that part. Make sure that it's in, because this is what is going to guide you, right? And even some companies, I've seen it somewhere. Some companies, they even, like they go straightly, with this. And so they will usually not bullet, they will bold the as a, like, it's going to be in bold. The I want to is also going to be in bold, so that it's also going to be bold. Some companies are very, like meticulous when it comes to that. They just want their team members to know whatever the structure must be in there. So they will usually have that. And so I've seen other people also have templates, like, they build workflows in their requirement management tools. And so every user story that you say you want to create, you will see the as a, I want to, so that, part in there, and then you just have to fill in the rest. So this, again, this point is going to add up that, hey, this is very critical. If you want to do this way, I like it this way. I'm not going to lie to you, to you guys. I like it this way. This makes it clear, explicit that, hey, yeah, I'm on track. As a visitor of the website, I want to be able to do this so that, it makes sense to me. Everything's all clear out to me. But hey, if you can write it in a statement form with your comma everywhere that, it's supposed to be, and you're still going to have your persona, or the role, the goal, and expected outcome or the benefit in there, hey, that's also fine. It's also welcome. All right. And then you have the additional information. Let me leave it up to you guys. He opened up for questions. So guys, if you have questions, whatever that you've seen here, voice out.
Hopefully you guys cover what Nana is thinking. Else I'll have to come back to Nana. Because I'm sure Nana has already poked like 10 holes in my thing.
No. So guys, questions for Koyo, things that you've seen.
Kojo, I've seen there's no assignee. Is there any reason?
I wanted to, but it turns out when you give an assignee, it tends to send a lot of emails to the person. Since I was just working on this and everybody's working on this, I just decided not to put an assignee there.
And assignee itself is not even a required thing. And don't even do that, because when a story is being written, that is not the the time that you will need to assign a story to somebody. You remember we will write a story, and then when you're done writing the story will come for grooming sessions. After grooming, we will estimate, and after estimation, it's going to go into prioritization, right? So it goes into several other steps and phases before finally the team prioritize on this. They plan on a sprint for this, and then now the team will now assign it to themselves. So don't even assign it even at this point when you're writing the story, right? And like you said, when you assign it, it triggers notification, and then you begin to receive notification that hey, something has been assigned to somebody. And especially now, I'll be commenting on some of your stories. I'll be going in, looking at what you are doing, and I might comment. So we don't want multiple, notifications here. I just, we don't have to assign it to anybody. That's what I want to say. We don't have to assign it to anybody, so that when I comment on your story, you can come back and say, hey, I've commented. I'll comment with your name in there, so that you will get notification. Hey, I've commented on this, so come and check out something here. If I see something that doesn't look good to me, I'll comment on your story, and you will get notification. Don't do the assigning, for now.
Nana, I think you wanted to say something about my additional information. Just before James.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of things in there, and so for me, I'm going to point towards. I'm just going to read through it, and then if what make sense to me, I'll ask. What doesn't make sense to me, I'll ask as well. This is the give feature, and this story itself, it is not an epic. It is a user story, and so if you're saying that it is give, what are we talking about here?
This is the tithe, like the tithing process.
Mm-hmm.
How the user
so that so you say that I want to be able to click on give, so that is the goal. So if it's tight, then we you need to tell us what we are doing here, right? Because it's not an epic. This is a feature called tight, right? That you have to click on. But your story says you get the point I'm saying.
Yes, I get you. What the reason I put that in parentheses is that it is not the actual epic. This is like a button, an actual button on the page that says when I click that button, and the button is labeled give.
Yeah, so then the give should be at the epic level and not at the story level. Right? At this level that you are the, yes. So over here, where you have the give, that's the epic level. This is where you need to describe that, at the header menu, whatever, there's going to be a give, whatever button over there. But when we go down to type, that means the user is going to see this option among the give over there, but the story itself should be tight, right? That is what we're looking for.
Okay. Would this make sense? Say if I want to be able to click a give tithe button.
No, so it's just supposed to be tight. We are just addressing the feature for tight. So
okay.
And of course, even at the expected benefit, you even stated it over there so that I can make payment towards my tithing obligation, right? So that's the type we are addressing here.
Okay.
Nana, can it also be a hover, so that maybe if you hover the pointer, the mouse over the give menu, you have a drop down of the various options, and then you can click on the tithe, or that will be described.
It depends on how you guys want to do it. So if you guys will have to click on it, and then the drop down we'll roll down and you see all the options. That is fine. If you hover on it too, that's fine. But if you hover on it, that means that does not mean you've clicked on it. It will just display for you. But the feature over here that we're addressing is tidying, and so we need to be clear that this is what this is where we're going with this.
Okay, so Nana, yeah, here. With regards to what you said, could you please hold on? I want to ask another question. With the acceptance criteria, you said, given that I hover around the menu.
Hold on the question. I sent out some videos and some materials and resources on how to craft strong acceptance criteria, etc., etc. I hope you guys have taken, you guys have watched it, read it, whatever, I hope you guys have done that, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, all right. Because it's going to be very important in how you guys are crafting and how you guys are doing this, going forward. Yeah, I'll go ahead with your question.
Okay, so with the acceptance criteria, I have it says given that I hover around the give menu, which Nana you're saying is supposed to be tight. That means what could you the features what could you have listed ought not to be here now on the side, the offering, the special projects, and the donation, you correctly said.
No, he just giving direction on where the visitor will need to maybe navigate to before they can access the tithing functionality, right? So he says that given that I hover over the give menu, I should see sub menus labeled tithe, offering, special project, and then donations. When I click tithe, now that's a step 2, that's a B. So now he's giving you the step that, okay, this one, that's the first one. You're going to see all this option. B, when I select tithe. So now, it makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nana, please, the materials you sent, one of the videos gave the acceptance criteria as we are discussing right now, given, when, and then. But the website, one of them, he just gave the user story, and on the right, he listed display, without the language given, when, and then. He did a tall list, acceptance criteria, and then beneath it, display, without the language. I don't know if the two of them work or one is wrong.
So I have to maybe go back and watch whichever one, and what feature was he addressing. That's going to be very important on the feature that he was addressing. That's why he's using the language, maybe display this or something like that, or this must be displayed for the user to see. This is going to be user entry for failed, whatever. We need to see that. But yes, when you start with this, given that it gives the direction. You not need to navigate here. You got to be able to go here. If something that you have to log in, if something that you don't have to log in, you need to be clear with your audience.
But
I'll take a look at what you're saying too. I'll take a look at what you're saying then.
I'll do a screenshot and then put it so that you see what I'm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so Kojo says that when I click on tithe, I should see the tithe page with a form. The form should collect. Okay, so if I was doing this, I would say this is going to be a user entry fields, right? And then I'll start first name. So it's the form should collect. I'll just say that this is going to be a user entry field, so that this is not like a drop down where the user will select from among the options, etc. So that the user know that as for this field, you need to type in, you need to enter it yourself. So it's going to be a user entry field. So guys, keep in mind when you do something like that. Okay, and then it says CI first name. So it's going to be alphabet text box. optional field. Okay. I mean, he's the one saying it though. Maybe they mean as the first name here optional.
Yeah, because it's tithing. I remember you said
you say optional field though. First name
I remember you said it should be able to
now
be
type
optional.
the open type the network support. Okay. So first name, last name, type month, amounts in dollars, currency field. You don't necessarily have to state the currency field because we know where the website, the visitors and but I don't think currency selection is important here.
Okay.
Preferred gateway drop down list. Okay, so he decided to go drop down list. So you can select from the options: PayPal, ACH, Zelle, Venmo, etc. And then email address. It's alphanumeric text box. Okay. Branch of church, if member. You didn't complete. Branch of the church, if member drops down list, if member something. I think you're trying to do something, but I think you didn't complete it. Branch of church, yeah. Well, if you say branch of the church, so it's going to drop down list. So the member will have to select. Okay, so that means you guys will list all the branches. So here, what I expect from you, since you're bringing this in here, you need to list all the branch and all the city state that they're located so that development team can pick it up and then put it into a drop down list functionality.
Yes, right? That's what I was saying. But I had, speaking of which, you just reminded me. I wanted to ask certain data or certain information perhaps might take a lot of space in here and be too
no. It cannot be enough. Whatever that you need to put out there, make sure you are detailed, you are thorough enough. So don't say it's going to be too much information. No.
I was going to actually ask if there is a place we can put it and perhaps link it.
No. It has to be right here. So if you're saying there's going to be a drop down list where the member will select their branch, whatever city or whatever, hey, I want you to list all the branch, all the city, whatever they're looking at, so that we know that all this information is going to go into the drop down, functionality.
Okay. Because I thought there was a place somewhere we could link and then maybe give, because there's this.
And then it's also good that you've indicated that it's an optional field because, of course, when the visitor come on there, they might not necessarily be a member of the church. So.
Yes.
Okay, Nana. Here. You make Kwajo to delete the currency option.
We cannot hear you very well.
Number of churches platform to see how they go about titles and stuff. Can you hear me?
Your internet. Wait.
Nana, can you hear me? Nana, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I was saying with regards to the currency thing that you made Kwajo to delete, I quite remember I visited some kind of churches platform, Christ Embassy, for instance. So when you get to the payment option, they give you the currency. It's a drop box where you select. Okay, so and not only that, other international churches too. I saw that currency button there. So you telling Kwajo to delete that because it's not needed. I'm kind of a little bit confused.
Yeah, you shouldn't be confused because Visa, MasterCard, they know where you are making payments, right? When I'm in Ghana and I use my Visa debit card, I've used my Visa debit card in Ghana before, and I've used my Bank of America, Visa card. They've taken out money from different ATMs in Ghana, but when I take out the ATM, the conversion, even though the money that is splitting out from the ATM for me is, Ghana cedis. When I do the transaction, when I come and view my transaction online, it doesn't say Ghana cedis. It says dollar. It did a conversion. Okay. So it really does not matter, the currency selection over here. The card knows where the transaction is happening, and you cannot, put in, 20 Ghana cedis at that field over here, right? It does not make sense to say 250 Ghana cedis. If you say 250 Ghana cedis, you still enter your Visa card details, etc. The transaction is not going to be done in, Ghana cedis. It does not matter the location that you are. If you are in Ghana, your account can be in Ghana cedis, whatever. It is a Visa debit card. And if you are giving to an American company or whatever has been done, the whatever that you remitting to them, the amount you are remitting to them, it's not going to be in cedis. It's going to be in dollars, right? So you don't have to worry about it and then put over here the currency. It does not matter.
That's fine. Thank you, Nana.
Yeah.
I think I get the clarity thing you were talking about now. Actually, that statement I put there, the currency thing I put there was for the sanity of the field itself. Just like in the name of the first name and the last name being just alpha characters, alphabetic characters, and the tithe being like a date field, and then I just put the amount in dollar. So I was thinking actually that it would take dollar, not even other currencies, because the requirement didn't say any other currencies. It just says dollars. Yeah. But then I put the currency in bracket because there's this sanity check for each field, so that somebody doesn't put maybe Kofi in that box and end up, not putting an actual figure.
I mean, if it's an amount,
I have clarified that.
Yeah, if it's an amount field, it just have to be a numbers field, so that if it's a field that you have to enter the amount, maybe $200, $500 for the 600, whatever, it just have to be numbers field, and so that
I just made it numeric.
Yeah, numeric field, so that people will not enter alphabet, Kofi, and all of that in there. It's just numeric. It will not even accept it.
Okay.
And guys, also keep in mind that all these fields that we are talking about here, we will create, a table and, data field in a database for this, right? Every feature that you write to user stories and all the fields that are going to be required, etc. So that means that you're telling us to go ahead and then make sure that we have a data field for that in our database.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so let's continue with the acceptance criteria. Or you guys have questions for, Koyo as well?
So, Nana, in essence, we don't need to indicate currency since the payments can be coming from any country. That will necessarily not be using
the payment can be anywhere. Anybody can give support. So it could be somebody in China who have seen our ministry and the work that we're doing, and the person just want to support us. It's fine. We welcome it. But once they are paying, we have some Unicode and other things in there that, the currency conversions and other things. It's going to be US dollars. It's not going to be, Chinese yuan.
I think because the requirements stated an amount in dollars and also $50 increments. I don't know. I was thinking that is why you needed to state there. But then if you are paying from outside the USA, definitely you know that you will get the equivalent of the amounts that you select or you input.
Yeah.
That is what will be deducted. So you still don't think we should put the currency there just for sanity?
Yeah, it is just an amount field. It's just a field that you can enter the amount. So I'm giving $2,000. I'm giving 3,000, 5,000, 7,000, whatever the amount might be.
Okay.
Okay, so Nana, you're here. Could you please can you scroll up a bit? Okay, so It's okay. It's okay. So, Nana, I want to ask you. I just want to find out. Can you give where I see this is it says when I click on the title, I should see the title page with the form. This is going to be a user entry. The first name and Kwejo is saying optional. Nana, I want to ask your name, your first name, and then the last name when you are giving towards such a project like this. Isn't it supposed to be mandatory?
So the right thing to be done here is that you can give, as an anonymous.
Anonymous, yes.
So there should be there should be an option over there that will, before you proceed further, you can either give, show your name, everything over there, or you can give anonymous. You don't want to be, no, they don't want to be seen, etc., etc. That is fine. You can just simply give, right? Now, all these things, it depends on the country and wherever that you might be. There might be some regulations, other things like that. You cannot give, $5 million, $10 million, and then we will not know who you are, right? Of course, here, political campaigns, they receive different amount of, donations, etc. People give, but, you need to have that data reported to, I think, the FCC or whatever, financial compliance or whatever that abbreviation might be. I've forgotten the abbreviation.
FTC.
FTC or FCC or whatever. So, we need to stay compliant. But there are other things like church. Churches are considered in America and I think other places as NGOs, right? No charter. Churches are considered considered in American what is it, the IRS and their regulations and other things. They are in the category of non-charitable organizations and NGOs, etc. So that's why even when you give your tithing at the end of the year, you can file it and say, I gave my money to this, charitable organization, right? So you file the money and then you can, get some money back or something like that. Sometimes it's not always the case, depending on. So when most of the churches over here, at the end of the year, they will send you like a report. The church itself will, email you or mail to you the tithing that you've paid for the whole year. They will send you a report so that you can use it for filing, for taxes at the end of the year, right? So it depends on.
Write it against it.
But Nana, could you go ahead? Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I was asking a complementary question to what Nana was saying, but proceed. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Nana, I was asking, the explanation you gave was what was in my mind. I mean, that was my question because I was thinking of the anti-money laundering. I mean, here the system here that supposing you transfer such an amount, okay, the central bank will have to probe. So definitely your name has to be there because you can't transfer such a huge amount without giving details. See, so I was just thinking in direction of with this anti-money laundering, where the central bank is so serious about.
Sorry, let me give a little clarity out. I think we are forgetting something here. You see, this is on the website itself, right? So on the website, you can choose to fill in the name if you want. But once you click this submit button down here, and it loads the payment page, PayPal already is going to take those details you're talking about. The payment gateway itself collects it. It's just because you are being anonymous, then the church does not get it, right? That's the idea. The payment processor themselves will have all your details, your name, your email, your phone number, whatever. They have all of that. If it's the bank already has your details. If it's the MasterCard or Visa, whatever, Venmo and Zelle, they all have those details. Your full name, your address, your phone numbers, everything. They have them. It's just the church, the form that we are filling on the church website itself to say that we want to give the church some money is where we can choose to put the names, like the first name and the last name and whatever else is that is optional here. I hope you get my idea.
Yeah, I do, Kojo. I do.
So it's like paying something to a Momo account, and on the website, you're not putting the name and stuff. But when you click and pop-up shows up on your phone and you point your PIN. MTN has the details that you are the one who actually did the transfer to Asumesi, whoever it is. Just Asumesi does not know. But if it ever comes up that one or ESR transaction, MTN can tell. You get it. If they even get a court subpoena or whatever, they can simply tell.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so
I'm asking this because of personal experience. You know, the fraud guys, you know, sometimes they receive huge amounts of money and to the bank, and few questions, you ask them 1 or 2 questions and they are serving, and then they will just leave. Do you understand? They will just leave without even getting the money. So at the end of the day, the money has to be transferred back, okay, to the sender. That is why I'm asking, you know. I have all this in mind with regards to the names, the last names and stuff. Okay. I don't know whether you understand what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I totally get you. Anybody who walks into your bank and gets asked any questions and they leave without answering them or taking that money, they are amateurs. Ignore them.
Because at the end of the day, you know, they get
usually
their
money
details.
are small anyway.
The money is no, it's never true.
What
it's never true.
What's the highest money you've seen anybody come to like that they've run away from?
Or like 100,000 USD.
It's show me amateurs. Forget.
100,000 USD.
Or more amateurs.
That's fine, sir.
Forget your money. I know people dealing in millions of dollars, you know.
No, but you see, anyway, not to digress, but some of them, they connect with their branch managers and the managers.
Yes.
The managers have their share. There is one particular bank. There's one particular bank at Spinters Road. And almost all of them go to that particular bank with one particular person behind the counter. If the person is not there, they prefer to wait outside.
Pause it. James, I beg you, pause. We are recording this for YouTube.
Sorry. Of course, that is true. James, that is true.
No, put it there. 3 days. Yeah. Yes, Nana, 3 days time he will delete it, you know. So let's leave it.
Yeah, not to digress. Yeah.
So we can proceed, right?
Yes. Let's go ahead.
Okay. So could you say it's branch? Okay. Auto deduct monthly. What do you mean by that? Is it, you know, you're gonna have a functionality over there that, you know, we can deduct from the person's account, like if the person wants this to be,
yes. So, you know, in the requirements you said they should be able to give, in this case, this is the tithe, and the tithe is every month. So they should be able to decide whether or not they want, it's a radio button. So they should, whether or not they want auto deduction every month, or it is just a one-time payment, in which case perhaps every month they will make their own tithe payments manually on the website.
I think it was
this subscription.
I think it was the partners.
It was the partners program. It was not so going to be tied in. I don't think it will be over here. It was the Africa project and then the Latin America. But for tithing, you know, your income can change. We don't want this to be fixed, you know. So that's the thing with the tithing. Tithing, you know, your income. I mean, who knows what you're going to be making to next month? Who knows what we'll make next 2 months? Anything can change. So,
so get rid of this one.
Yeah, not here under this feature of tithing, but it could be somewhere else, like the other project that people can support us and become partners.
Okay, I only put this here because I think in Europe they have this thing they do with.
I mean, if your income is the same, you know, but you know, we don't expect that people's income will be the same throughout the whole year, right?
Okay.
If your income is
you're serious trouble.
If you're on auto and you get fired and one day you wake up, the thing has deducted 3 months. 3 months tight your previous salary of 100,000 a year, 10,000 a month or something. I budgeted for 6 months. I lost my job and I budgeted 6 months. Now you're timid 3 months.
Then you go get your money back. You tell them to refund your money.
Share. When I'm sorry, I would do cigar mom. Oh dear.
I mean, I also buy for your agency, son.
Yeah, we share with our
I buy for you, Niska, buy for all the ones because I want to 50%, over 50%.
I know had issues with his church and he wanted to get back his tithes. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. I think there was this news item back in the day, like a few years ago. Somebody was demanding in one of the African countries. Somebody was demanding their tithes. That it all be returned to him because something happened to him and he expected that the church would support and they didn't.
Oh.
And he was paying the tithe because that was what he was told, that if you don't pay your tithe, if anything happens, the church does not support you. That and some is it welfare or something. And he had paid. And he had contributed to other people's, I don't know, whether funerals and whatnot.
So somebody inside there, mind is just some club and some association, you know.
So in anticipation said that actually also need the bar.
That is it. That is it. You do it. I see it.
No, but when you precondition, when you precondition people's minds, you pay this so that when you're in trouble, we'll do this. And my say
in Kojang or something.
Yeah, only latency in a hard.
Yeah, we lost you. We didn't hear whatever you were saying.
Okay, so I was saying that it's in Kojang Koja. That is how we call it in Kojang Koja. Can you hear me? If say at the end of the day, me yama. Say when it gets to my turn to you do it. So in my mind, I know
oh, we've lost you. You need to feel castle. Hold on.
I also be there.
Somebody can go on
it is well, it is well.
I catch your one to the air. You see, you to be castle now.
I heard you, boss. I heard you. Thank you. That was just like the way.
Okay, send back. This will be a first 15 seconds. I said to the other one to edit to free castle.
What's what?
Road traffic and yet monitor traffic and so and yet more traffic than power.
I'm watching soon yet.
Oh, sir. Maybe that
the caswa.
Caswa, anyhow grow.
Caswa. I want to be some den of thieves who want to go.
It's the Nigerians, so Nigerians and a massa this bad in Nama.
Kale your YouTube. Your YouTube. Yeah, a higher quality.
You pass, you see.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nigerians phone virtual.
Yes, how you call what's it? Yes, how you call higher roadside.
No, but Nana is serious. So to the extent that So all driving now, if you out through gate and what I just say make sure corners and make sure will be no crowns and maybe a gate. Can you imagine? That is where it has got into now.
Go if you so true. Yeah.
And Nana catch on no sit.
Obian take us who and almost sorry or to know that we make one of our no so I am robber nibi into the cumia. Obian could be a fee.
No, but they know themselves. It's a cartel or it's a group. They know. In fact, if so be say nipa bakwa digital now catch a leaders in back on because you say you will go and bring your team back to you. Knowing very well, they know themselves. So they don't steal among themselves.
Yeah, some.
Anyway,
yeah. Nana, other than so far, some media and kind of okay.
Pamcho, and you're my way. My infant is serious. Now, and I was talking to Chris and or share any experience, Charlie. The nature and me and foul. I see you honey and funny. Now, the real work is not that simple. Tough. It's yummy and who are your baby. Your baby and tea. Mama, in Nahona. Any in details na pese ya de bemu or tray in.
Yeah.
I say you pay very close attention. And say some of the things he will keep going back and you say look, Nemana yes you had that waterfall agile, all those things, you know. We shouldn't forget that.
Of course.
And I don't know if you can share mine from your end. I'm not by a computer. So I'm using a phone to connect.
Yeah.
So the chat, the third one.
I want to go off, but and kind of okay so far at least.
Yeah, I will, read through this. Like I said, I'll be commenting on your story, everybody's story. So that is fine. You can share. You don't have to stop sharing. You can share Kenneth's one so that you can read through.
I don't have Kenneth's own.
No. You have access to the platform, so you have Kenneth's church, whatever his project as well. So you can open it up for him.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now this is Boyson.
Let me see. Come back to the project. Oh, okay. This is Boyson, right? And not Kenneth, right?
Yeah, Boyson.
Okay. At the moment, I'm most already the same one as a day.
Lana B, Boyson.
Okay. So could you come to the project over here? For the Jira inside, where you see your friend is saying projects, so go over there. If I click in the projects, you will see if there's a view all projects or no. Okay. No, at the very top. Yeah, view all projects. So locate whatever project that Boyson wants you to view.
Yeah, the church, Boyson Church. Yeah.
Okay, which one?
Yeah, the as the tithes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm in traffic, so when I see the police, I put my phone down. So you.
Okay.
So I think that's a minute, please.
Can you see?
Yeah, I can see, but
No,
minutes.
I mean, is it okay?
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're using your phone. So if it's too small, maybe I can zoom in a little bit for you.
Yeah, zoom in a little bit for me. Okay, I think I can zoom from here, Chris. Okay. So as a giver, I want the ability. Okay, we come back. Okay,
I can zoom a little, and then you can also zoom a little, and then make it a little clearer for yourself.
Yeah, I think this is fine.
Okay.
As a giver, I want the ability to pay tithes so that I can serve God with my substance and the additional information. Okay, that's what I had there before hearing the responses. The ABC Church believes that a tenth of what a believer earns is sacred and is set apart for God's use. So the acceptance criteria, if you can scroll down, yes. A minute, I need, sorry for the disturbance, but yeah. Okay, that's okay. Given that a giver is on ABC platform, when the giver selects give, then grant access to pay tithes. Give is on the home page. A single click on give will produce a drop-down list which has tithe on it. Hovering the pointer on give for 2 seconds without clicking will also bring out the list which has tithe in it. The tithe is on the first on the drop list. That's what I want there. I know if you can scroll for me a little bit. Okay. Okay. So given that user has selected tithe, when giver inputs amount to be paid, then grant access to input payment details. Selecting tithe brings out a pop-up dialog box for giver to fill. When user clicks outside the dialog box, it closes it. There are OK and cancel button on the dialog box. Given that user has input correct payment details, when the user confirm payment, then as acknowledge receipts, there's a thank you note that pops up when payment is acknowledged. Giver can start the process again to give. And then the form will have first name mandatory, alphabet minimum 2, maximum 15, middle name optional, alphabet minimum 2, maximum 15, last name optional, alphabet 2, maximum 15. Amount, okay, I would have to take out the $sign. It's mandatory, it's numeric, and I prefer gateways are PayPal. And then there you have the, can I have the business room, please? Yeah. Giver is 18 and above. Giver below 18 has approval of parent or guardian. Monies given are not refundable. Monies given to ABC are not financial investment, which would yield interest for giver to redeem in future. Assumption, giver is not donating illegal money. I'll check that. And giver understands what he or she is doing. So I don't know if there are any corrections I can make, any additions I can make from this.
What caught my attention is the under 18 seeking parental approval.
Okay.
How are you going to get a parental approval? What steps do we take to get parental approval?
Let me add up to it that, I mean, we have our kids go to church. We give them Sunday offering. I mean, how do you expect that for every child in there, you have to call the parent and ask them? I mean, we understand giving, and we are teaching our children how to give, why would it have to be that they have to be 18 years or they have to seek approval? You have to seek approval from them.
Yeah, thanks, Bismarck. And yeah, I was thinking that since it's going to be online payment, you would, I don't know how if children have access to the payment getaways that are listed down there. So if children don't have and they are going to use the, I'm thinking that is there to prevent children from taking probably their guardians or parents' card to give without their knowledge. That was the thinking I was going through it. But
Emmanuel, my question borders more on the requirement. So if I am below 18 and I need to seek parental approval, what is the requirement in seeking the parental approval? What information is the system going to require of the under 18-year-old that satisfies the parental requirement?
Noted, Bismarck. Think of. Okay. As it stands now, it doesn't have any requirements for that permission as I've stated there. So I'll look at it. Thanks.
Emmanuel, I don't know how come you have business rules and assumptions in the thing in the first place, but I thought those would usually go into additional information.
The assumptions.
I mean, since these are, that is what I'm thinking. I'm just asking you why you have business rules and assumptions, at least to the best of my knowledge. Perhaps Nana can correct me, but to the best of my knowledge, I don't think business rules and assumptions should come here. Okay, I'm assuming, I'm thinking that business rules are additional information, and assumptions that you're making are also additional information that could possibly have come under this additional information.
Okay.
So maybe you can consider.
Okay. Sure, I would. I thought the additional information was a description to the user story. So when we're doing the first one, when Bismarck was doing it last. So when we put Titan there, the additional information was when you put giving there, the additional information was give a tenth of what you have. So I thought it was just a description out there. So I will consider that. Thank you, Kojo.
Sure.
I think that Nana has also given us a lot.
Yes, I think this is supposed to be about the technical requirements of producing the particular, going through the process and then coming out with the exact outcome that the user expects to have once they are done using that website, right? So everything you put on this page should have those technical requirements first off, and then also be able to give the particular process the user is going through, at least from what Anna has said so far, and finally get an outcome. So in that case, I'm guessing giver being 18 and above shouldn't be relevant here. I understand, as James was saying, we're trying to teach the kids to give, but since we'll be using payment gateways and the children don't have access to credit cards, then this particular giver is 18 and above shouldn't even be relevant. That is one.
Okay.
Let alone them having to get permission from parents. So, monies are not refundable. I can understand that. And it not being a financial investment, I assume every adult already knows that it's not a financial investment. For the illegal money part, what do you call it? The payment gateways usually have anti-money laundering processes in place to prevent like laundering money, and that's why they have limits and checks and balances for these things. So those are already captured in the payment gateway process. So you may have to get rid of that one. And the fact that the giver also understands what he or she is doing. Again, the user, we are assuming, is already above 18. Right? So then naturally the law expects that he or she knows what they are doing. Because per the law, ignorance is no excuse of the law. You in the form also, you are missing the bank account transfer, the ACH, the payment gateway for banks. You have PayPal, you have Zelle and Venmo. But there's a last one, which is ACH. So you have to update this.
The last one, which is
ACH.
Okay.
And this, I think you also didn't provide what the user will need to use these particular gateways. Right, you have to be able to provide what the users will need to use this particular gateway. So for PayPal, what will they need to be able to use PayPal? For Zelle, what will they need to be able to use Zelle? For Venmo, what will they need to be able to use the Venmo? And then also describe how it ties into this process that you are doing here. Because in the back end, okay, we're not dealing with the back end, so let me leave that. But you just have to be able to describe, like in my example, I said in PayPal's case, you need the email. You know, PayPal uses an email address and a password. So it's like logging into the PayPal system. Then you can make the payment. Zelle gives you an account with your email or a username. And Venmo does something similar with a QR code and an email address that you can also use. So you have to be able to state that if you want to use PayPal, you need these details. If you want to use Zelle, you need these details. If you want to use, yes. And then say what they need to do after they've made the payment, or what should happen after they've made the payment, since this is the acceptance criteria.
Okay.
Nana, I have a quick question. Something just crossed my mind. As we are working with this, so far we haven't given any, like in the case of the user use case situation, you know, alternate routes or something. This is what is going to the technical team. How about the what ifs? What if this? What if that? Say the payment doesn't go through. Do we need to consider those also here?
Well, you say if payment doesn't go through, like if there are no sufficient funds or something like that, is that what you head into?
Yeah, Nana, in the video, one of them gave scenario 1, scenario 2. That if scenario 1, if login is possible, then scenario 2 is if login is not possible, then he gives the acceptance criteria for that scenario 2. I think that's what he said.
Yeah, and I think it's the same thing. Like I said, like if you didn't like if the transaction is a NSF, like non-sufficient funds, is decline or something like that, then what happens, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, but let's say all the other type of maybe scenario that may that's possible if something like that happens. I mean, if you this is why we have the acceptance criteria. You need to state whatever that is possible and whatever that it might happen as in the course of the transaction, and what we should accept as our success criteria, right? So don't leave anything out. Be thorough, be detailed as much as possible.
So it means that
if this is what you gather from the stakeholder, right? Make sure that if this was what the stakeholder discussed, then you bring it in. If the stakeholder was silent, you cannot just bring anything by your own preference. You need to be led and you need to be guided by the stakeholder. If as a stakeholder, I didn't tell you that these transactions, we can have this scenario happening. It can be scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3, 4, 5, etc. If this happens, this is what we will want to do. If this happens, if I was silent about that, then you cannot just bring it in here. If during the elicitation of the requirement, we talk about that, then that's fine. You can bring it over. Is somebody speaking? I cannot hear anything.
No, sorry, I'm back. I got disconnected for a bit. I think I'm suspecting maintenance or something going on around my place.
Okay.
Yes. Could you repeat what you were saying? I think you were
so I was just saying that you simply have to go with what the stakeholder shared with you. If there's going to be several alternative and several scenarios, the stakeholder will have this, discuss that with you, right? That in the course of payment, in the course of transaction, in the course of this process in our system, these are the likely events that could, show up. Scenario 1, scenario 2. If this happens, this is going to be the alternative. This is going to be that. But if in the elicitation process we were silent with that, then you cannot just write anything like here like that.
I understand, but you remember some time ago you said like sometimes the stakeholder is just a non-technical person, right? And they might just say, I want this thing to work like this, not knowing the underlying factors and technical requirements and all of that stuff, in which case that is our side of the equation where we have to consider. So that's why I was asking that. In the case of this, take for instance, the payment does not go through.
So that means that only means that prior to here, you will not just get here before you do that. That means before you even translating the thoughts, the ideas, whatever the requirement might be in Jira for the development to do to start working on it. That means you should have worked that with a stakeholder and gathered all this information before that time.
Okay.
It is not afterthought that you come over here and now you are adding your own options.
Okay, so even as the technical people, whatever we think of, we need to discuss with them and confirm them before.
Yep, you need a sign off. Always note that or keep that in mind. You need a sign off or approval or the concurrence of the stakeholder before you bring anything to the development team.
Okay.
If you don't have sign off on it, don't bring it over. Don't say this is what it's going to be the way that we're going to be doing this. No, everything that you see over here, you need a sign off or approval of your stakeholders first.
Okay. And I was just studying a little outside of our own thing, and some I heard one of the VPs of product for some company saying, like, as a product manager or something, you have to be really decisive. Do you have any idea what that really means?
Yeah, I'm not sure whatever the the context of that video, that conversation, or that maybe forum, whatever that he was discussing. But yeah, being decisive is very important. You got to be able to make a decision and stick with it, right? Okay. So if you're building a product, and product usually maybe from two ways, from concept, and then maybe as an enhancement. If a product is, you build something that is an enhancement, that means you already have something that is already in existence. You already have an existing platform, and you're building on top of that, maybe a maintenance or new features that is coming on onto the already existing platform. Some product also can be a concept, which means it has never existed for you guys as a business or organization, and you guys are building something totally that is new. And so it goes through several iterations and different stages, from concept level to ideation, where you guys sort of talk about all the kind of features that is possible within that feature or that application, and then you guys get acceptance, approval from whoever needs to approve of it. Mind you cannot just sit by yourself as a PM, product manager, and just say, this is what I'm doing. Whatever you're doing, you need to liaise with compliance. You got to liaise with marketing. You got to liaise with other stakeholders, right? You got to be able to get some approval from compliance that what you're doing is okay. You're not going to be, getting the business in trouble, with, legal suits, etc. Right? Oh. So okay. It's very important that, you stick with that. But decision making process, as you move forward, there's going to be, scope creep. And we have talked about some of these things, right? When requirements keep changing, somebody's going to say this, can we add this? Can we do this? Can we do this? Now, if as a product manager, you're going to keep listening to everybody, I'm sure that we will not be able to ship out anything, for the next 1 year, right? Because just when you're about to move, somebody's going to say something. Just when you're about to move. So if at some point in time, you don't freeze the requirements. So that's a very important step. You got to be able to freeze the requirements, say, at this time, you're not entertaining any new feature or any additional changes right here, right? Okay. If there are other nice features, etc., that people are talking about, you're going to capture it. And it's going to go in the backlog. You prioritize it, talk about it, goes to grooming and refinement. And then if it's worthy of considering, etc. Of course, when I say it's worthy of considering, you guys remember the business value piece when it comes to user story, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the value. So of course it must make economic sense. It's not just people saying, can we have this nice little feature? It's very nice. Remember, people are going to throw in all sort of ideas, but does it deliver some level of maybe value? Yeah. Before we want to spend hours, development hours, etc. in doing that. But you got to be very decisive. So when I say you got to be decisive, yeah, he's right, because there's so many ideas that's going to be thrown at you from different places, and you got to be decisive and say, no, we'll go with this feature first, and then we will prioritize this for day 2 or day 3, day 4, etc. Other than that, you cannot have anything out, because it's almost going to be like a rabbit hole. It's an endless pit, right? It does not end. The conversation does not end. Brainstorming sessions does not end. Every day somebody has something new to say, right? So at some point in time, you got to freeze the requirement and say, hey, now we're going with this for day 1. Day 2, we'll consider the other features. Day 3, we'll consider other stuff as well.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. So tomorrow. Okay. All right. So so today. Yeah. Somebody say something.
I think it's Yao.
Yao, I can't hear you. I know you're saying something.
Can you hear me now, Nana?
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to ask Nana. I don't know whether it's doable, but with regards to the payments, can we have a dialogue box where we will just name it as a standing order box or something that if a member or a visitor wants to pay it on monthly basis, as a result of taking that box, we will know a standing order has been placed on the customer on the the visitor or that member's account, that at the end of every month we will just be deducting without the his knowledge, the visitor or the member's knowledge, please.
Yeah, you know that can be done. It's not a big problem. It's something that is very easy to do. But again, it has to be from the stakeholder, right? If this is what the stakeholder has shared with you that, hey, for this feature, for this platform, we want this monthly type of thing where the user has already pre-authorized that transaction. And so every month the user or the customer, the visitor, whatever it might be, is already aware that this is going to be coming off from the account. That is fine. It's okay. What happened with some of these transactions is that people dispute these transactions a lot, right? Way back, I used to be a teller. I told you guys. I used to be a teller over here. People will be coming to the bank and say, hey, no, I don't know anything about this transaction. I don't know who's taking my money. Who's taking my money? But they have forgotten that, when you are emotionally driven, you go somewhere and they say, hey, we want supporters, we want this, and you sign up for that.
And like when you are emotionally driven, I mean, we call it when you are moved by the spirit,
Yes, that's what I'm about to say.
Okay, you qualify it by moved by the spirit, but me, I'm going to say when you're emotionally.
Yes, Nana. Let me give an example. For example, in my workplace, if you have somebody who had such a feature on your bank account, you will suffer because during the breakup of this coronavirus thing, for where I work, it affected us. In fact, about 50% of our salaries were slashed for a period of almost 6 to 7 months. And so you can imagine if you are somebody who have said that every month they should deduct this and they deduct your wasubeshi. And besides, tithe is based on 1/10 of your legitimate income. So it's not a fixed thing. So far as the higher you earn, the higher you pay, the lesser you get, the lesser you pay. That is how it is. So saying that you have a fixed amount, well, anyway, you want to get double blessing, but something like that, if you are in my situation, as you go through 50% salary slash, we'll fix that thing. I see.
Nana, since you work in a bank, James just said something. I'm just trying to bounce it off you for a second. In the case of, say, the ACH, in the case of the tithe, I put this monthly deduction there, but you said because the salary is not fixed, like your income is never really determined, you can't do that, right? But then what if we use the ACH instead? In which case we're saying the bank should look at perhaps at the end of every month, okay, between the period of 25th to the 30th, see any transaction that comes in that says by order of so and so company, right? And the subject is maybe salary, maybe then deduct maybe 10% to the church. Would that be possible? Not for this particular project. I'm just asking, like, is that something that can be done?
Yeah, I mean, as for the bank, like I always say, technology is an enabler. Okay, technology is an enabler. We human beings, we have to do the what. Technology will do the how. We don't have to think about how it's going to be done. It's already been figured out long time ago for us. If you want money to come off your account, that is not a problem. we can always do that transaction for you. The problem is you coming back and saying that you want to dispute the transaction because you did not authorize it, right? That is where the problem is. And usually you do not know what is coming out in your bank account. And so you might not even have sufficient funds in your account sometimes, right? Sometimes if you're not the type of person who is monitoring your account every day, you don't know when your maybe T-Mobile bill comes in or Verizon bill comes in. You don't know when your home internet access bill comes in. You don't know when your, gas or something bill coming, your mortgage, etc., etc. So if you don't have sufficient funds in your account and you also have authorized another emotionally driven, transaction coming out every month, and you're not checking, and by the time you realize you went somewhere, they were saying it nicely, and then you say, "Oh, I can give to support. This is a nice thing," but you didn't do all your math to check that. Hey, this is my monthly income, and all the bills that comes in, and all the other things I need to take care of. Am I going to have $300 left to do that? Also, program that I've subscribed and say I'm going to support them as a partner. Do I have that kind of balance in every month at that period of time? And then you went ahead and say every 6th of every month, every 7th of every month, it should come out of that account. Fine. As for the bank, the bank, we'll just take it up for whoever is asking for it. We'll authorize it. But the thing is that, you see, when it comes in, not say there's no sufficient fund. Mind you that we will charge you additional $35 for as an NSF fee, right?
More or less like overdraft.
Yeah, overdraft fee. Okay. So I didn't reject payment because who needs is capital account to pay for it. No, we are also charging you an extra fee for that because you didn't have money in your account. You went ahead to tell somebody to come and take money from your account. Right. Yeah, we'll charge you for an NSF fee. It is okay. It's okay, but we're not going to be looking into a range. If you have signed up for whatever specific day, make sure that you have money in your bank account for that specific day. That's all. It will come out nicely, right? It will come out nicely. The company will thank you for your contribution or your donation. It's okay.
And I want to add to what you just saying. Okay, so can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
you. We hear you.
Okay, so and I'm just adding to what you just said. See, Kojo, with the banks, and when it comes to these things, it's possible, it's doable. Because at the end of the day, when you tell us when you tell the bank to do these transactions for you, okay, on your account from let's say 25th to 27th, what we do is normally we tag the account, okay. We tag the account, and anybody, whether a teller, whether the operations, anybody who goes into the account knows that from 25th to 27th of every month, this amount has to be deducted. So we will program it. Okay, so the system at the end of the day, any money that comes in within that period, the system will automatically, take it. So it's something that we do is okay in the bank. So
I get that part, but I'm asking particularly because of the technicality of the subject matter of the income, okay, of the deposit or the transfer that was made. Say the transfer came by order of a particular company, right? And that the subject of that particular transfer or deposit is, or the description, sorry, is salary. Before you can make that deduction. So if, say, it doesn't come or any other amounts fall through, yes, I have a standing order that says take 10 cedis and give to this account, but unless this particular amount comes from this particular company stating that it is this particular transaction, then you do not do that. It may be 100,000 but then my salary. So perhaps I've gotten
I get it. That is why you have a relationship manager you're supposed to communicate with. They are there to they are your personal bankers. So with this, you communicate with them, and you will not be surcharged as well.
Okay, but technically that is not possible.
I've not tried that. No, I know with the system we only take into consideration figures, and then so
okay,
that is what I'm saying. You have to communicate with the relationship officer or the manager that this money that is coming, I know is within this, but it is not, for this purpose. So
that point.
As I said, no, he shouldn't. Like, you can tell them not to deduct.
It's not
part of your actual.
Of course, that is why you have a relationship manager.
I see another person in the hospital. Hospital. I feel discharge you also.
Relationship manager.
Yes, I'm here.
You know this. The relationship managers. I know usually they'll, on everybody's account, they'll put a relationship manager, right? But
of course,
I've noticed mostly a blocker near my relationship manager. Relationship.
What is a blocker?
Relationship manager who is a relationship manager? But when you blocker, you better throw.
What is a blocker?
My account is
Nana, it's a brain.
What's that? Stacks. I think in America you call it stacks, right?
Nana say you're my relationship manager because I show.
Nana say no stacks.
No. What are you talking about? Stacking the block?
Nana, make a relationship manager. My hands are up.
Nana, your friend a block. Just who would do a show? Who is it? In the bank,
like what amount they can show, because it's not in your pocket. The money might be in the bank, in some investment portfolios, etc. That's a blocker. What does that mean?
Okay, so that in Ghana, for instance, some people that we don't even respect, they have a lot of money, right? People in Makola market who have shops, for instance.
That's a Makola is kind of work. Makola is kind of work.
But Jose.
Yeah, Mr. Makola is kind of one. It's not that University of Ghana Business Schools. It's kind of one Makola.
So some of them have like 100,000 CDs sales in a day, 200, 150. 80,000 in a day, just
that is true. Revenue. That is true.
Like they can actually even have a relationship manager for the person or for the company or whatever.